You doing that thing you do, breaking my heart into a million pieces, like you always do. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Sorry.
I knew Yann. I knew Yann was going to sing it. I wish I'd known the words. I would have joined in.
I know, me too.
Welcome to another Volt episode.
But more importantly, welcome to episode 51.
Yes.
Hey!
It took a while. We had 50, which was Empire Records, and we have 50 point A, point B, and point C. Which, so all the stuff coming, especially for the 1 year anniversary.
The reason I'm so glad we had those little extra things because I haven't said this anywhere via podcast, but I had appendicitis, so we had to take my appendix out. So
yes,
that's the reason. So between episodes 50 to 51, I've lost a piece of my body.
Yeah, body part is gone.
The new and improved Adam 2.0.
Yes, I've been carer for the last 2.5 weeks.
Can I just say Anouk was an excellent nurse, and thank you for all services from the NHS staff, nurses and doctors in Glasgow. That was my care was fantastic. I didn't even know I had it. I thought I had trapped gas. I had to go at like 2 o'clock in the morning. They shipped me off to the hospital, but it was this level of care and personal relationship with the nurse to actual patient was second to none. So I can't fault it at all.
No.
So thank you for all NHS staff and the service you do in Britain.
Definitely.
In retrospect, maybe what was it was supposed to be in the middle of if we had the podcast run, we would have it would have been an issue, right?
Yeah, that would have been a big thing. I'll save the story for the Fringe episode coming up, but I had an opportunity for the Fringe this year, halfway through the Fringe, and let's just say I'm glad that I didn't take it because I would have had to let them down like right near the end as well.
Yeah.
So,
it was you literally couldn't walk to even the bathroom
it
fast. It was really bad. You definitely needed the recovery time that they give you.
Today is September 11th, and I'm at the tail end of recovery, so I can walk about, but not great distances.
Oh God, it's September the 11th.
Oh God.
Oh shit.
Yeah, a quick sorry for the viewers because you had a still image up until 2 seconds ago because I forgot to. But you had the beautiful that thing you do image.
That's good.
We're waiting for the episode to happen and to start.
That's good.
Yeah,
it's 9/11.
Yeah.
Jesus.
As all the never forget hashtags going around.
Our thoughts and prayers.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything.
Not really a laughing matter, Adam.
No, but usually Channel 4 do a documentary like every year about 9/11. I haven't heard anything this year.
No. It's been quite a crazy year, I think, for the media and America and what's going on in Britain with Brexit and Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
everything is crazy.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy. So maybe that's part of it. But
when we were in New York, I have to say the thing that impressed me the most about the 9/11 memorial is actually the memorial that's on the fire station right nearby.
Yeah, that's really nice. It's kind of informal. It's personal. There are flowers. It's kind of like it was just done.
Yeah.
But then you also have the mural.
Muriel. No, you mean on the paint on the wall? Yeah, it's murals, right? Yeah. Which is really nice.
Of the firefighters and police officers that were.
Yeah.
And those are the people that they're not forgotten, but it's like you don't really. You think about the people that die.
You never think about the actual services that went in. It's just and the fire service went in, which is.
And how much you have to just forget about yourself as a person. You have to go and save others as line of duty. It's part of your job, but it's also duty. That comes from a very deep, honourable place. So.
Yeah. So that was very moving. If anyone goes to New York, or I highly recommend, because everyone goes to look at the massive water. What would you describe the actual memorial as? Because it has water pouring out of it with all the names around it, for both towers. But across the street from it is the fire station memorial, which is very, very moving as well. And there's always a New Yorker nearby that will explain more about it. So yeah, there's always people nearby that will be able to like give you a bit more information as well, which was really nice actually, because I know there's like an information center and like a whole thing, but we didn't actually go to the main one there. But yeah, it was really nice, really moving actually.
Yeah, I couldn't stop crying. I had a lump in my throat that whole day after seeing it. But it's definitely something that you need to do because it's humbling, and
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
also, be grateful for every day that comes.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
Today is all about that thing you do, the Tom Hanks's directorial debut.
Was that really his debut?
Yes, it was directorial. Yes.
Wow.
It stars Liv Tyler, Jonathan Chock, Steve Zahn, Ethan Hembry, and loads of other people. So why is it in my vault? Well, just like Empire Records, it started with Liv Tyler, and then I became obsessed by the songs, and I, even more than with Empire Records, I would listen to those songs like in circle, like for month and month and month. And I actually discovered, which is quite interesting. So this is in the vault. I discovered a few months ago that there is an extended edition that is supposed to be like the Tom Hanks validated, but that's the marketing thing. Nobody knows where it's coming from. But basically, I'll talk about that afterwards. But it's almost 40 additional minutes.
Yeah, when I looked this up, it was like 2.5 hours. I'm like, 2.5 hours, really?
Yeah.
And that's the extended version. So if you Google that thing you do, the runtime that comes out is for the extended cut, not the theatrical cut.
Yeah, it's 40 minutes extra. That's a long time that they
that's
cut.
in a world now where they highly go like the extended edition, Batman versus Superman, Ghostbusters, like extra bits,
The cut that entered the vault and is still in the vault is the standard one, theatrical cut. Yeah,
okay.
an hour and 47 minutes or something.
Yeah, it's good.
Right. So basically, the story is there's this guy, Guy Patterson, is working at his parents' convenience store, Patterson's, and he loves drumming and he loves jazz, and he has some friends who are in a band and have this thing going on. And at some point, their former drummer, Chad, played by Giovanni Ribisi, the unobtainium guy, by the way.
From Avatar.
Yeah. He breaks his hands or something.
He breaks his arm.
His arm. Yeah, so Guy enters the band, and their first ever gig, he actually sets the tempo way faster than that was supposed to be originally. What was written by Jimmy, the lead, the guy,
the lead singer.
The lead
the
singer.
only thing, yeah.
And he wrote it. So
Yeah, and it leads them to very high places, and they meet. They have a manager quite quickly, and then they meet the guy, Mr. White, played by Tom Hanks, the manager of the huge record label, and yeah, it's the story of meteoritic rise and sudden fall of a fictional band.
The thing is, though, the plot is note for note what happened to the Beatles. I can talk you right through. So it's the whole.
Except they didn't have a fall.
No, that's true. It's the idea, because it's clearly
The Beatles are not a one-hit wonder.
I wasn't saying that.
Well, you said that it's basically what happened to the Beatles, and it's really not.
Well, it's about the rise of the Beatles, yeah.
Yeah, but it's something that is clearly in their mind, because in the extended cut, there are many Beatle references.
Yeah.
And they make fun of them, like ridiculing them.
Well, the thing, because the whole thing about what struck me, it's quite interesting, is the whole they swap the narrative. So, example, with the Beatles, they went off and played like in Amsterdam, and that's when they went number one, which they have, except this time they play Pittsburgh, sorry. So stuff like that as well. The whole thing about replacing the drummer, the small gigs in the town where, although they don't play with the idea that everyone like wanted the other guy to be like Ringo's never going to be as good, and then immediately it's like as soon as Guy or Ringo played, everyone forgot about the other guy, who I can't even remember his name.
Yeah, Best.
Is it?
Was it Pete Best?
It might be Pete Best. But yeah, and then obviously with Tom Hanks just playing Brian Epstein, a nicer
Yes.
version. No, sorry. A meaner version of Brian Epstein. But the whole idea is essentially the guy that mentors the band to massive success.
There are some interesting cameos in there. One which you probably didn't realize, Clint Howard.
I don't even know who that is.
Ron Howard's brother.
All right, okay.
Which is a quite interesting case because he's very politically conservative and still gets gigs because, well, you have to be a liberal to have gigs in Hollywood, and still get gigs because of this brother, Ron, so which is quite cool.
Okay.
Yeah. We saw, I never noticed up until I actually watched it there, and I was right. Paul Feig is in there.
Yeah, Paul Feig makes an appearance.
As a disc jockey.
Yes.
That's okay. And Bryan Cranston, our friend.
Brian's in
of
this.
course. Looking quite young.
Yeah, playing a real guy, astronaut Gus Grissom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I won't read you the Wikipedia page, but he did some. Well, it was a real guy.
Leave the list reading to me.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Something quite weird. Maybe it was because of I don't know the way I first saw it. In the original cuts I saw way back, it was a different print or something. I had the feeling Mr. White, so Tom Hanks, looked like he was full of makeup. He looked very weird, which is not happening either in the extended or in the theatrical cut here. Also, maybe it was just my eyes. But what I remembered from the first time I saw it, he looked like he had paint on his face. It was really, really, really strange.
Oh dear.
Which, well, it doesn't happen here.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
Maybe it's the version of the DVD, because obviously this is now Blu-ray. You know, like the print.
Maybe
Yeah.
I don't
like the actual film.
I'm not sure I actually ever saw it in cinemas, so I can't. There is also Kevin Pollak in there. Bosvik Kos.
Mm-hmm.
In the extended cut, he is being a massive dick to his secretary, and there are some exchanges. Okay. I would recommend you guys, for instance, because we've just watched the original one, to wait something like, well, if you liked, well, we'll see if you liked, but if you enjoyed it enough to actually try the extended cut, I would recommend that, because also Tina, a guy's girlfriend, who is basically a glorified extra in the theatrical cut, she has a full storyline in the extended cut, and you can even see her going golfing with the dentist, and there's the whole thingy.
I don't think she was a glorified extra. Like, she's...
Compared... Yeah,
Well,
no.
obviously compared to the extended cut where she is, but in the theatrical cut, what we're talking about today, she's kind of like a reflection of like ambition versus like people that are just genuinely interested in something. And we know that for a fact, because you're people that say, "Oh, I'm an actor," but they aren't like outgoing every day. Like, I'm looking for the next gig. Like, they just do it for a hobby. It's exactly the same. She's that.
Yeah, I think it's also like she's a good example of what isn't good for him. Like, they're not supposed to be together, and it's so obvious in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as you meet her, you're like, okay, well, that relationship isn't going to last. And I think that also makes you want him and Faye to end up together.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a catharsis thing at the end, like, because they do, you're like, oh, great, that's what I wanted from the beginning.
Right. So let me rephrase that. In terms of screen time, she has like at least 3 or 4 times what she has in the theatrical cut in the extended version.
Yeah,
Right.
that must have hurt as an actor.
Well, especially if you go and see the premiere and none of it appears.
Yeah, like you don't know how much of your stuff is cut, which happens to most.
You would hope your manager or your agent would tell you, it's like, hey, they've cut you from like the final thing. Like, they let you know.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, when I rewatched that a few weeks ago, you didn't watch the documentary, but they actually had, because the whole thing is entirely fictional, but they had a tour, The Wonders, they had a tour in Japan, and they did massively, and I don't remember what this, they did massively, also in the documentary, which I recommend. It's on that Blu-ray there with the 2 versions, showing to the public TV. Yeah, includes both the Tom Hanks extended cut. Yeah, they say it's Tom Hanks extended cut, but yeah, and theatrical cut. The documentary, they also talk about. I don't remember. I only watched the doc once, but that they actually. Well, in order to be able to do that, they actually had to learn how to play. So they became an actual band for the duration of the shoot and afterwards for the tour, the Japan tour. So it was quite cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, Colin Hanks was also in there.
His son, where is
yes,
he?
a few seconds in the standard cut when the television showcase at the end. He's the young guy taking Faye out of the car and bringing her inside.
Yes.
It's just 2 seconds.
Yeah, because I know Colin Hanks from Fargo. He's in series 2 of Fargo, and he's also briefly at the end of Jumanji.
Yeah, yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yes. But in the extended cut, you see him. He gets her to her seat inside the auditorium for the TV. Yeah.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, he does look a lot like his
dad, yeah.
father. Yeah.
Who do you think? Because I actually never wondered before this time, or maybe I missed something. Who do you think actually wrote and made sure that it was written "Careful, girls, he is engaged" on the television? Because Mr. White says, well, who said that? Well, the same guy who said you had class. Yeah, but so what was it him?
I think that it was. I think that it was just like a way of getting people excited. Like, oh my God, they're getting engaged. Like, that's so exciting.
Well, I think isn't it to do with one of the first scenes we see of Mr. White? It's really weird saying Mr. White when Bryan Cranston's in the film, innit? With Tom Hanks as Mr. White, is he talks about who's this Faye, and he's like, oh, it's my long-term girlfriend.
Yeah, and he's also really interested in their relationship. Like, he kind of wants to use that as either he wants them to break up so that Jimmy is single, or he wants their relationship to be like, you know, Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, because doesn't he say, he talks to Faye at the bar about how long you've been together?
Yeah.
And she says like 2.5 years.
Yeah, and he's like trying to, I think it was him.
Yeah.
But what was interesting is that was a really good way of showing how much of a dick Jimmy was. Because even when she left, it wasn't like he felt bad. He like carried on being an asshole. So it's like, okay, so basically you just have a black heart. Like,
yeah,
you don't feel anything. Like
the reverse of John and Oko.
Yeah.
Oko, sorry.
So the things that you all the way through that you asked a question to Adam at some point while we were watching it, if you noticed.
Yeah.
And it's all the way through.
Oh yeah, I know
it's
what's coming.
all the way through. It's all the way through. I always notice these things, and I don't want to say it's because I'm a woman, but it might just be because I'm quite an emotional person, so I always look at the emotional side of what's going on in a storyline, and all the way through he treats her like a bitch, like
she's not there.
He dismisses her. Yeah, dismisses her the whole time. Like, he doesn't care. And Guy always cares about Faye. Like, when she looks ill, he's the one that says, when she has a fever, he like stops her and like puts like a blanket over her, and he looks after her. And then as soon as he tells Jimmy, like, by the way, your girlfriend's ill, he's like, record label. Like, he talks about like money and the music. And
well, I think you've had more relationships than say me and Yann. I reckon. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
So you've had equally good and bad relationships, fair?
Yeah.
So you can spot the difference between good and bad relationships.
That's true.
So I think it's to do with your own like personal experience. I absolutely believe that's there for you to pick up on. But I think depending on like your relationships that you've had in your own life, you miss certain things.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you focus on in a film, and I'm usually the one that like focuses on how the characters feel.
You could tell that Tom Hanks definitely started on stage because this is also written by Tom Hanks. Am I correct in saying that?
I think it was. I'm not sure.
Co-written?
It may have been co-written or written, but it does say on the box of the DVD. It says like written and directed, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're right.
On the front, yeah.
Yeah. Written by Tom Hanks.
So like So in the scene you're talking about when she like breaks up with him, like that dialogue was very like stage, like
It
very
was.
dramatic.
Yeah, it
I
was
don't mean
very
that
dramatic.
I don't mean that in a bad way. It worked perfectly for the scene, but it was so distinct that it made me think, I'm like, yeah, this would work on like as a stage.
It was very
performance.
poetic.
Yes, yeah.
Shame on me for shutting my eyes so tight while I kissed you. It's like, Jesus.
Not seeing the real you.
Yeah.
All the thousands of kisses I wasted on you.
Yeah.
Good line. I like that.
I mean, yeah. The camera does love Liv Tyler. She's such a beauty.
Yeah, that's very true.
And she's very good. There's something quite raw about her. Like, she's really different.
There's an innocence to her.
Yeah,
in
and
her
she's
face.
also like just really natural. Like, there doesn't seem anything put on about her. I'm
No.
sure it is like slightly. She's an actor, but
Well, yeah, for each role, but I think I've seen her in interviews and stuff like that. Like, she seems like a very like relaxed sort of person. She seems very much like how she is on camera, which is quite nice.
yeah,
Mm.
she's quite ethereal in real life.
Yeah.
And she has a star to her name. So,
Yeah.
written and directed by Tom Hanks. Yeah, it was also produced by a few guys, including Jonathan Demme, who directed The Silence of the Lambs and multiple things, who actually has a cameo in this.
All right.
In when the major motion picture, the Crab Shack thing, he's playing
Shrimp Shack.
Shrimp Shack. Yeah, he's playing the director of that.
Okay.
Yeah, and the original score is by Howard Shore.
Oh right.
That's quite cool, isn't it? Yeah, that's awesome.
It is really well done, like composed, and it seems very kind of complete and like well done.
It's a really fun time.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I think I read online, basically someone said that it makes up for its complexity with charm. Like, it's charming.
That's true. I will say that there a lot of the times there is no stakes in this film, but that's fine because I'm enjoying the ride and the journey that I'm going on.
Yeah, I kind of agree that there aren't really high stakes, but it kind of doesn't matter.
There never is a make or break moment for the band, because even in the moment that is hinted at, the make or break moment, which is like, oh my god, the bass player is not here, they just replace him like instantly.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad, but it's also not, because that's what he wanted.
Yeah,
Like, he always wanted to be part of the Marine Corps and, do his duty, and that was his only focus. Jimmy wanted to be famous, obviously, in his own way.
Like musically, yes. Yeah, I think he was too proud of his music.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess so.
It's like the sort of, those fame actors that say, I'm too good for that project.
Yeah.
Like that sort of thing. I'm an artist, The same with musicians. It's like, do you want to do this feature role on somebody else's track? It's like, no, I only make my own music sort of thing.
It was it, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Harry Connick Jr., the uncle, where they record in the church. I think that's a musician guy.
Oh, right.
Harry, yeah. I think that's the name. Hopefully, I'm not sure because I haven't checked, but I know it's something.
That's
someone.
cool.
Yeah. Which is,
I think I read that quite a lot of musicians and real professional people were behind composing quite a lot of the songs and also like orchestrating certain things.
That shows, because the song, anyone that's tried to write music knows writing music is extremely difficult at times. And the song is very good.
Yeah, it is.
Even though you hear it about 5 to 6 times in this movie, you never tire of it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about being Star Trek, because that's not Star Trek, Starstruck, which is perfectly the right moment to talk about that. In this movie, Guy meets one of his idols, Del Paxton, at some point.
Yeah.
Which is quite an interesting interaction. So I'd like to know...
I know what's coming.
If you have, because I have one to share.
I'll have to think about mine.
If you have some kind of celebrity meetings, interactions to share with the world.
Oh, like, so the question is if we met anybody.
Yeah, and did it go how you expected, or did you rehearse like crazy for 2 weeks before, or I don't know. Mine, basically, so today is today is 9/11. I was supposed to be in London to go see The Room again, and more specifically the second part of Best Friends, which is back at the Prince Charles Cinema. Last time I was there was to go see the first part, so Best Friends and The Room with Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero. And right, it's not really being starstruck, but for the first time I had plans to do some stuff and I actually succeeded, namely go on stage.
Yeah.
And so I was so happy afterwards. So when it came to go say hi to the guys and get some merch outside, I just forgot my credit cards codes. I just couldn't. I had 2 cards. I forgot both of them.
Oh God.
Oh no.
So luckily, I was with a friend, which I had some extra tickets, so I invited a friend at the time, who also, thanks to your banking system in the UK, was able to do some stuff, and he paid, and I paid back at the same moment, so that we were good. But if I didn't have that, I would have had everything signed and everything, and no ability to pay for what I just been
Signed.
signed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was the okay. Wow, and yeah.
So I can relate to that. So most people know my dad is half Pakistani, so I spent basically my whole life watching Bollywood. Now, Bollywood king is Shah Rukh Khan, and
Have you met him?
Oh
Oh my
one
God.
of my aunt, not met, which is even more embarrassing because I've also for a long time known that I wanted to be an actor. And also for a long time I wanted to be a Bollywood actor. So this was a big deal. And my whole family was there, and we were invited to the premiere of his new film Chak De India, which is about women's cricket, cricket, I think. And he was playing the coach. Anyway, he did a speech, and everyone was he was on a podium, and everyone was here. And as soon as he walked up and I saw him, my voice just didn't work. And I had tears streaming down my face, and I was just so emotional. And everything he said was truth and incredible. And I was oh my God, this is me being starstruck. Before I was be cool, Anouk, be cool. You don't care. It's just some guy. He does movies. Whatever. You're going to be in movies at some point. Whatever. And as soon as he came on stage, I was boom, gone. I was an idiot, complete idiot. And just so when you go back and you have that muscle memory thing where you're immediately feeling that lump in your throat, and you're I can just remember how I felt, and it was intense. I was so starstruck.
I don't have one. I was have I actually met anybody? I mean, I've seen people at the Fringe go past, I've seen on TV and stuff, but I've never had an interaction with somebody that I would say I've been starstruck by. So I'm trying to think, who would I be? And I was scanning the room. I was surely there's something that would absolutely blow your head off, and I probably would be Sigourney Weaver. I think my head would explode.
Oh, really? From Alien?
Just because of Alien, yeah. Just been because it's also one of those things. It's she must get that all the fucking time. Just oh my God, you're Ripley. I can't. I don't want to be that person either. That's you just know them for that one thing. But it's impossible because that film means so much.
Yeah, it affects you. It does.
Yeah.
It's funny, is that thing that you some people can't just understand, fandom to the extreme. You can see the girls with the car in this movie at some point. They're jumping and they're crazy, kind of I want you inside me kind of thing.
Yeah.
If it's also the same effect, I reckon, that when you go on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and you've got a very easy question, but you're so on the spot and so that you just
you see these compilations all the time, and they're either really confident or they just panic. It's crazy.
You kind of have to be. Actually, what made me think of that was that Adam has been playing Spider-Man
Yeah, it's good game.
the new one, while he recovers even more. And there's a moment where Miles wants to learn how to fight, and Spider-Man teaches him. Spoilers.
Yeah,
But not really.
It's not.
Hardly. It's like
not
a little
big
scene.
spoiler. I mean, from all the advertisement, people know that Miles Davis is in the game.
Oh, sorry. Whatever. He basically says, like, don't let the adrenaline take over. Like, breathe into it and focus and like relax, like stay relaxed.
Yeah.
And that kind of made me think about how, for me, I have like adrenaline surges, and that's when my mind somehow goes blank. Just silly, because you kind of think like adrenaline should do the opposite. It should make your brain work faster because you have to get out of a situation or you fight, like fight or flight response. But it actually shuts me down completely.
Do you think this exists in like Twitter form now? Because meeting people is like sometimes really difficult. Like if you get an interaction via Twitter from a famous person.
Will you get really excited?
Yeah, because I've had those. Because my old profile used to get retweeted, but I got retweeted by Irvin Welsh. I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
stuff like
of
that.
course.
Yeah, well, plenty of profiles, like unofficial profiles. There are days made when the actual person is actually either following the profile or liking stuff.
Oh, I've got a story now about Starstruck. I've figured one that's like secondhand Starstruck. So you've reminded me because you talk about we had an official Simon Pegg, which we couldn't work out if it's really the Simon Pegg Instagram page or it's the fan page. Either way, it was really cool. And my friends, Michael and Gregor, who are in the band Dancing on Tables, the ultimate free plug, although it's not, by the time this comes out, it'll be out. Their new single is out on Friday the 13th. It's a good song. They went to like this award ceremony and there was like Simon Pegg and other people there, and I was like, oh, fuck, I wish I was there. Like I had that sort of thing. I was like, that'd be really cool.
Oh yeah, there's always that. Like, oh, I wish I had met that person.
Oh, they met him?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's also, it depends, because I'm stopping to do that now because I realized, I think it was when I went to see Bruce Campbell. I'm in the queue and I'm rambling what I will say, and I end up saying some random crap that has nothing to do with what I planned, which was written perfectly for maximum impact. A bit like what Guy did with Dell here. It was not like, oh, I'm just
You're
just
my
a silly
biggest
fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's clearly it was. Well, there was an interaction afterwards, and they became like, well, maybe not friends, but acquaintances at least. And so, yeah, I think the room one was a bit like yours. I was so over. Yeah, I don't know. I was so happy about being on stage again or whatever that I just like, I don't know, because I wasn't that losing my memory with Irvin Welsh or was it Bryan Cranston or yes, I don't know. There was probably a one-time wonder, which I don't know. It's weird. So yeah, I'm not. I was supposed to be here now, but I'm. Finally managed to be skint, so I just can't.
When Bryan Cranston was like at the tables when we were seeing Network, like right in front of us, that was quite a moment as well. Being like, oh shit, like oh my god, there's an actor that is very good in front of us.
Yeah. It was kind of humbling, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
This film actually made me think about what kind of like what happens if or when we're famous. Like how I would deal with it, because actually I have a insane fear of failure, but also a little bit of fear of success too. Like, because it's not always about the fall. Like there's this whole thing of like, oh, the more you rise, the harder you fall. Like it's less about that. It's just that like you have so many people wanting something from you and you have to
or expecting it.
The expectation is like insane, and you're kind of put on this pedestal, and you have to meet needs, and you never will. Like there's always gonna, and especially with like social media, there's an even instant like what's called review thing going on, because someone will listen to what you've got and then immediately want to review it.
It's like you have an expectation of what your interaction with that person is going to be, and if it doesn't match that, then you're like, oh, they've let me down. There are countless stories in Hollywood and from people that are now famous that they met idols, or even, people that met people that they really looked up to, and they were completely not what they expected them to be.
Yes.
Oh,
You
don't
know?
meet your hero.
Yeah, that whole phrase, like, don't plan or don't have expectations of what you're going to get because you don't know.
Such a thing.
My dad has a few of those. One
God.
with Alain Delon, which is he talks about a few times.
My dad met one of the Doctor Who's in a bar once. That was cool. I think it was Tom Baker.
My brother had it was a completely impromptu interaction with Ewan Rion.
Oh, right, cool.
Yeah, it was at a party, and it felt like friends and stuff. And
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it sounded like it was a great evening.
Oh, so cool. He's cool.
Yeah, cool guy.
Yeah, and also something that made me think that it kind of depends on what world you're in, because my mum gets excited when like top analysts like come to her at like conferences and say, I loved your essay, or I loved your, and I was like, that's funny. That's like, you think of them as celebrities, but
you work with
no one else
Lacan?
knows who they are. But of course they are celebrities because they're big in their field, and if they walk into a room, literally you can feel the room like one of my old analyst, who I'm actually thinking about going back to, but anyway, is like one of the top guys, and it's so funny because my mum's analyst also is like one of the top guys, and the way she literally blushes, like immediately blushes, like when they like in her space. Like,
I'm so glad you finished that.
Oh, shut up. In her, like, or like talks to her or something. And I was just like, that's literally like how someone would meet their idol.
Yeah.
But it's like in the psychoanalysis world, like it's so funny.
Well, that's true in any field. I mean, like, my dad's like a keen mountain biker, so if he met anybody that was like Bradley Wiggins or Chris Hoy or whatever, was whatever you're interested in, even if they're slightly successful. The word celebrity is kind of weird because we always equate it to like massive celebrities, like huge Beyonce,
Cool.
all that sort of thing.
By the way, they just added a celebrity category in the Pornhub Awards.
The what?
So that was for the first time ever this year, the Pornhub Awards. Creative director Kanye West. And there was Tana in celebrity selection. Fear of success is a thing I also have to some degree. Flying. Fear of flying, which is the name of the interference.
Fear of flying.
In a game thing. That's it may sound weird from the outside, but it happens.
Yeah, and I will also very happily sabotage myself, and yes, that's a fear of failure, but that's also because, if this goes well, then I have something to prove, or I have like that. That's totally crazy, but it's a real thing.
Yeah.
So much so that you sabotage your own career. Like you will actually not go to audition, or you won't apply for things, or you won't, go on Spotlight all the time, and that's what I was thinking when I saw this film. Let's link this back to when we talk with Jimmy. It's kind of like you have to jump through certain hoops that you'll hate, and you'll have to do things that you think are beneath you. That doesn't mean that it's beneath you. Like you will at some point get to a point where it won't feel like that, but until that point, you have to do things that you hate. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't be that person.
There's no quick success.
No, and
there is, but everyone can't exist that way.
Like when they were on that shrimp shack thing,
Yeah.
and Jimmy was like, "I'm so much better than this," and it's like you do realize that you're sabotaging yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you've done this, you're going to meet people, they'll do things for you, blah blah blah. Like you can pull strings. Like it is who you know. And that is as important, so there are things you have to do, and which kind of annoyed me because it said at the end that he actually became really successful. But he did sabotage that band.
Yeah, that was the thing that I spotted from American Graffiti, which is one of my dad's favourite films. At the end of American Graffiti, it tells you what the characters got up to after the events of the film, like in the future as well. So it's like,
quite a few films do that.
yeah.
Well, which is interesting because again, it's entirely fictional. So
Well, so is
know.
American Graffiti as well. So
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Um,
it kind of was interesting that they made. But then I guess with someone with that genius that can write those kind of songs, why wouldn't he become successful? But it's just funny that was kind of the reason that things went down.
Oh yeah, and he also signed again with Playtone. So he quit before, but it's the same Playtone again.
Oh,
his
right.
his new band. Yeah.
So he probably just woke up one day and just thought, "Shit, what have I done?" Tom Hanks.
I'm very curious because this film comes out. When did this film come out? Like 96, right? So we're 3 years before, boom, Oasis, all that sort of stuff happened.
Right, so a massive celebrity? Do you
No,
mean?
what I'm saying is like I'm curious if the narrative of like take a famous group and follow their like events. So the Beatles, would that have changed with Oasis? Because Oasis is another like crazy success story in the speed that it happened. Like Oasis is they were gigging and then they play up here in King Tut's, they get signed and then woofed within a year. Like they've got the best selling album of the 90s.
It basically took them like basically 2 years to thinking, oh, I'm going to be in a band, to selling out.
Like they slug it out and then boom,
yeah,
like up in flames. Like how quick like their success story is.
Yeah. And I think the Beatles were the same.
Yeah, they had the big. As soon as they had first one, which is it? I'm gonna hold your hand. Is the first one?
I can't tell you. I can look that up for you.
What was the first one you were listening to? Because it was definitely that.
Please me.
It might have been that. But as soon as they had like their first number ones, like they really just started going like hit after hit after hit after hit.
Well, they say that thing you do was supposed to be very similar to Please Please Me by the Beatles. That's kind of what they took.
Yeah.
So I quite liked how there were similarities to the Beatles because
who doesn't like
it kind of made yes, love the Beatles, but also it's something that you can relate to, so you can kind of understand that these people are going to do really well, or at least that their style was very Beatle-y.
Yeah. I also like in a film that is I don't know the budget or anything, but there was a nice variation of shots. Like it wasn't just standardly shot. Like I've seen a couple of movies recently that are just like over the shoulder, close, yada yada, extended long shot, yada yada, all these really basic and easy shots to save money. But this had a lot of like various shots in it, which I really liked as well.
Mm-hmm.
First Tom Hanks movie.
I know, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean,
It's
Tom
pretty
Hanks has been
amazing.
gigging about for years, so you do pick up on these things. I mean, we've never made a movie, but from watching movies, we know like what would be boring to watch. You know, like you just kind of gets ingrained into you.
Any favorite character?
I mean, I kind of fancy Ethan Embry. Like he's seriously my type. Like, sorry, Adam, but a little bit dorky, a little bit kind of like cute, and a little bit out of place. Like,
I mean, why are you with me? Like,
because you're a little bit like that, Adam.
No, I'm the complete opposite.
No, you're not. Shut up. I walk into a room and I own it.
Yeah, I'm like, everyone knows I'm there. Like, boom, kick open the door. Hey, I'm here now. Oh my God, it's Adam Dick. Oh my God,
Dripping with charisma.
yeah. I'm like, hey, do you want to, acknowledge me as a human being right now?
No,
I'm not in the shadows anymore, motherfuckers.
no. So yeah, he's seriously my type, and I kind of zoned in on him immediately in Empire Records as well.
I think I liked Ray the most of the characters. I thought she was the best character in the film.
Who's Ray?
Faye?
Faye, sorry, fucking Faye. Who's Ray? Who's Ray?
Ray. Yeah, I just think that she's quite inspirational as a character as well, because she kind of sticks by these guys, and she sticks by her boyfriend, and kind of. But then also, as soon as he treats her badly, she kind of tells him to fuck off. Like, I don't know. It was very
Well done.
Realistic.
before feminism was cool.
Before that word became a trigger word.
Yeah, exactly. Which it isn't.
We got anything else? So how are we doing on time? Are we aiming for an hour?
We're aiming for an hour. We're 45 minutes, so we're great.
We're doing good.
Excellent.
In terms of extended, the end. So basically, all this group is from Erie, Pennsylvania, and they end up in California. And basically, they were supposed to all go back at the end. Guy, when he meets Del Paxton again, at the moment, the separation moment when Jimmy says he quits, there's Del Paxton recording in an adjacent studio, and they do a jam and everything. In the original cut, we don't really know. Well, at some point, you can see a master shot and some stuff being said while you don't see the mouth. So that's when Guy tells Faye that he's staying because he found some drumming stuff. Actually, in the full cut, when he's in the studio with Del Paxton, there is some other guy, also famous, recording stuff in some adjacent studios again. And what he contacts, what happens? Yeah, they kind of record a podcast. With Del Paxton, Guy, and some other people into jazz, and they have the hours and hours of discussions, and he just has that, and he contacts the guy who was actually Clint Howard, the very first radio guy. He talked to him about Del Paxton, and he contacts this guy who tells him that he will make this into a radio series. So he has this to produce, and he stays originally for that. When he's about to go kiss Faye, he has a box of kind of records. That's what he has.
Yeah, right.
It's those discussions with Del Paxton and.
I think the film is edited enough in the theatrical cut that it's fine. You just assume that it's music anyway. So.
Yeah.
There's no.
Yeah.
I like that, even though it's probably a completely different prop. That the edit of this film doesn't make you need an extended cut. It almost like if you want more, there is more.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, watch. I got the Blu-rays because I really wanted to see like 40 minutes. That massive.
Like even with Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
Which is quite funny. We're talking about her after we've done episode like 50, because if in our time scale we did like Atomic Blonde as episode 3, so we've kind of done a loop. We're right back to last year. We were talking about her in Atomic Blonde, and now we're talking about her in this film.
She's done pretty well for herself.
Her arc, even in the like non-exist, even though she's hardly in it, you clearly know what's going to happen. Like she's just going to leave the guy for the dentist, like that. You can clearly see that, and it's fine.
Yeah. So the question when we have Vault episodes always is not about the rating. If it stays, a bit like Empire Records and the two cuts. This one, I would have that thing you do, theatrical cut, stay in the Vault. Not necessarily the extended cut because it's way too long for sure. It's really for fans. Would recommend maybe in 2, 3, or 4 months if you want to take the time, guys, to watch it. But it's not. I mean, it will help understand a few more things probably. But people can do without.
We could have a fun discussion about what one is better, which extended cut is better, either the extended cut of this or the extended cut of Empire Records at some point. Because doesn't Empire Record have an assembly cut that you said we should watch as well?
No, the one we watched was the one I recommend.
Right, okay.
No. The one we watched was the theatrical cut, and the one I recommend is the other one, the remix fan edit. So yeah, we didn't see the remix one. We should probably do that.
Yeah, we can do that at some point.
We can have discussions about Vault ones, because that would make an interesting conversation. It's like, which one would you want to keep in? Do you want to keep in That Thing You Do or Empire Records, seeing as they're both very similar movies in a way?
Oh, that's
Tough question, eh? I mean, I've got to answer the question: what transformation scene do I prefer, The Fly or American Werewolf in London? I mean, that's going to be a really difficult conversation to have at some point in the future. Even though I think I really like the movie The Fly as an overall package, and you can't go wrong with David Cronenberg.
Yeah, the prosthetics are amazing in that film too.
On a side note, Yann, me and you might have done something amazing by complete accident. I got news today that there is now going to be a Papa John's in Dunfermline. In the episode, the World Cup pizza episode, me and Yann talk about. I don't know if there's a Papa John's in Dunfermline, but if there is, I would highly recommend that. And lo and behold, months later, there now is. So there we go. We've changed the tide.
That was all on you, boys.
Yeah, that was absolutely us. So I mean, Papa John's is having a shit nightmare with everything going on. But you know, if you want a decent cheese and tomato pizza that is, I wouldn't say reasonably priced, but for what you get, it's okay.
Yeah,
Go
even
for it.
Tony macaronis, I think, is so much better.
yeah.
Yeah, that's quite good too. Oh,
I'm
I'm
not-
trying want pizza now.
I don't.
Me too.
I don't think I have. I think I don't have a favorite character. I would say the band dynamic is my the whole band dynamic.
Yeah, I agree with
That's
that.
really
I-
cute.
And also on the side, I really like Lamar. Yeah, I really like that guy. So the doorman.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so sweet.
The concierge.
Yes, yes. You would imagine how you would play a guy like that. Like
Yes.
imagine, just like I worked on Johei. You imagine you're at the center of the whole story, and other people have stuff on their side. But yeah,
Very
you're just,
true.
He's got his own thing
Yeah,
going on.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
yeah. I think we're fine.
We're doing good.
Yeah. I actually went to my sister's surprise party last month, and I had 3 people come up to me and congratulate me on our podcast. So guys, I think we're doing all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
What are their names? We can give them a shout out.
It was Dexter, Peter, and Pierce.
Hey,
Wait,
hi,
thank you for listening.
Dexter, Peter, and Pierce. Right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think I've met that Pierce, right? The one I've
Pierce,
met.
yeah, you've
Yeah,
met
cool. Nice.
yeah, so it felt really good, and quite a lot of them have said like, oh yeah, I'll message you, and I really want to like maybe start my own podcast, and like I'm really interested in what you guys do, and so yeah, that
And that
felt
thing we do.
fucking good.
Hey.
What?
That felt fucking good.
Yeah.
And then
Anouk was going like, yeah, like they're really interested in what we do. I'm like, what, that thing we do? Bringing it all back.
Oh,
We
yeah.
can't have a good moment without me bloody ruining it. That's
Yeah.
also true in me and Anouk's relationship.
Yeah.
Like, I will absolutely make everything a joke.
No, well, it's just that I actually didn't hear it, but it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Whereas I did hear the one in Avengers, the Drax one you did.
Oh.
Like you had to explain because nobody really
Yeah.
listened. But yeah,
it was very
we're becoming practically invisible.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, by the way, my sister who is pregnant. One of her pregnant cravings is Marvel movies.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
If you
Excellent.
listen to the episode 50.c, that should be the numbering that will come out. That should have come out just before this one. I ask to her why that is.
Did they ever figure out? Because assuming if you're listening to this episode, you will have listened to that. Did they ever figure out who was the Patreon donator?
No, I didn't.
Because that was a surprising talking point in the episode. They were all like, "Who's giving money to Yann to do this? What is it?
That's hilarious.
Who's stupid enough to do this?"
so funny.
That was.
That was actually a really nice. I'm guessing there was a little bit of alcohol involved.
There was no. I'll explain afterwards when it's off air what was involved.
All right. I think I
but-
know what's going on now.
No, but the thing is that we only had because I had the backup gear, so we only had 4 microphones
Yeah.
for 6 people. So it sounds weird at times. That's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's yeah. No, it was fun.
It was a good listen. I really enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
really good listen.
Yeah.
Check it out, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we have 5 minutes left till the hour.
I'm curious to say, because we're going to do a couple of these movies because Yann brought them back. We're going to start reviewing movies that are in 4K.
Yeah.
So in those episodes, we'll talk about how it looks on a 4K TV, and we'll also, at the end of the episode, even if we don't recommend the movie, we'll talk about, do we recommend the Blu-ray and the upgrade from, if you already own this film and you like it, is it worth the upgrade?
Also, if
if
is it worth getting a TV for that? Because
that's very true as well. Yeah, is it a TV seller? Yeah.
Like God of War got me to purchase PS4, even though I boycotted that for years. So
Yeah.
and we have Predator. The new one is being released tomorrow. I'm going to see that tomorrow. Well, in 2 days. But we also have the trilogy in 4K.
Yeah. So we'll talk
well,
about
it's actually Ultra HD. 4K is the cinema format.
Yeah.
It's there's the subtle difference, but anyway,
it's what you would call 4K basically.
Yeah,
HD.
and
realistically,
it says it on the boxes like 4K Ultra HD.
Yeah.
And also probably as what was it? We'll try to do some Spider-Man stuff at some point. I know I will not play this one because it's not the style I like, but I can watch if we do the movies, like the 2 trilogies. And if we have to find a format to do that at some point.
We're building up for, in a couple of, maybe next week, we'll probably start sitting down to watch some of the Saw movies.
Yeah,
because that's coming. We'll have to record them because we've got 8 episodes to talk about at least. 7, and then me and Anouk rewatched Jigsaw the other week while I was recovering, and it was still enjoyable.
Yeah, there's a bit of fluff.
There's a good reason why in our episode of that we don't talk about the detective plot because it's not great.
Okay.
But the actual, when rewatching it, I'm like, I really like what they've done with the dynamic of like the people in the traps. Like it was well done.
Yeah, it was.
Well, October or horror month is coming. We probably also we did Jigsaw without the other ones last year. So we do some Jigsaw as we just said. We probably could because there was a Halloween just going out, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
A bit worried about this.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, Suspira. I think we should do the original one and the Luca Guadagnino, the guy who did Call Me by Your Name. He's doing a remake of this Italian classic.
Okay. Cool.
Suspira.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
I have the Blu-ray for the original one.
And maybe we'll visit another Dracula sort of based film. For
Yeah,
next.
I'd actually love to do the classics like Halloween.
Or should we do real classics like Hammer horror films? Like
Like those.
Frankenstein.
I think that would be interesting, maybe to watch before going to see it in the modern release, the modern releases.
Yeah. Okay.
And just to see where it's come from.
So we'll release Saw if we can we'll get all them done. That's a guarantee. All 7 Saw films we will talk about.
Yes.
And then maybe some other movies. We'll also get back to some modern releases as well.
Definitely.
As soon as I'm able to get out of the house for an extended period of time, we'll go and see something.
Hereditary. It's going out very soon in physical, so we can do this one.
That's true.
Excellent.
And Mandy, not the drug or the Barry Manilow song, the Legion M produced. It's being penned as one of the greatest horror movies. It stars Nicolas Cage.
They did say that about Hereditary too, though.
Yeah, but this one
And
is,
Mother.
This one is supposed to be looking like Suspiria. Apparently, it's visually very good.
The only thing I know about this film is I've seen like Nicolas Cage's face covered in blood. That's the one shot I know of the film.
Well, the only thing I've seen, I've stopped watching trailers now. I'll get my noise cancelling headphones and use that every time in the cinemas because that's one of my resolutions. I'm stopped watching trailers.
Wow.
Mandy. I haven't watched the trailer, but it's produced and with good part by Legion M, which is the production company. Fan owned, which I'm actually have 16 shares.
Very cool.
Well, if it's end up being crap, I'll say because it's not because I'm have some parts in that I will just change my views.
Yeah, bias.
But apparently it's quite Sundance. It was a hit, and it has 99 in Rotten Tomatoes. I think. Well, it's appreciated everywhere. It seems so.
Although to be fair, there's that scandal with the TV series Insatiable kind of shakes up the whole Rotten Tomatoes thing.
Oh, God's sake.
Do you know about this, Yann?
Yes.
Yeah, the whole like they made fake reviews and stuff like that.
Well, but they did that for plenty of the Suicide Squad every time.
Most films do it.
Yeah.
And it just as it goes on, more negative reviews come out, and it balances it back out again.
Yeah, the longer they hold the score secret, the smellier. It's like, that's not good.
All right.
Well, thank you again for listening. That was a new episode and a Vault one. It's been a while, so we'll see you around.
We'll be back soon.
Yeah,
very
we
soon.
will
very
definitely.
Soon.
Yeah.
But we were Yann,
Adam,
Anouk.
Bye bye.
bye.
Bye, guys.